Breaking news here in the Sports Center. Just moments after Jeremy mentioned Dexter Lawrence and the Bengals will look to get the extension done, our Adam Schefter sent this out. The defensive tackle has passed his physical and is getting a one-year, $28 million extension with the Bengals. He's now under contract with Cincinnati for the next 3. With you on SportsCenter, Dexter Lawrence was one of the Giants' defensive stars last season. Now he's off to Cincinnati. Blockbuster deal. Includes the Giants getting the Bengals' number 10 pick in the draft. Bengals get a linchpin for the defense. Giants get premium draft compensation. And Sexy Dexy gets what he coveted, a new big money extension. Let's bring in our senior NFL writer, Jeremy Fowler, to give us some perspective on all of this. I guess the main question is, why was this deal done?
Yeah, but the people I talked to believe that the Bengals were in no man's land with that 10th overall pick. A lot of the premier defensive players that they could have targeted were probably going to go ahead of them at 10. So if they weren't guaranteed to get a guy they wanted, why not just take the guesswork out of it, get a star, premier 28-year-old defensive tackle with pass rush ability who takes up double teams. Defensive tackles age well. They can play well into their 30s. I was told that was part of the thinking for Cincinnati. And he's got somewhat of a reasonable contract, 2 years and $40 million left. Now, they have to rework it. They have to come to a deal. A lot of people around the league were wondering when Cincinnati made the trade, they had the problems of Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, other contracts. Can they get this done? But talking to people around the league, I suspect that they will try to work out a deal here. And I talked to a source who said Dexter Lawrence is jacked about this trade. He gets a chance to go play with Joe Burrow, chase a championship. They're in their window right now, so he likes the change of scenery. Very happy about it.
All right, that's a good thing there. By the way, 6 teams now have multiple picks now in the first round. Jets, Browns, Chiefs, Dolphins, Cowboys, and, of course, now the Giants. So let's take a look here at the updated top 10 picks in the first round of the NFL draft. And, you know, I guess the question, when you look at these teams here, Jeremy, what movement could we see? And I'm talking early Thursday night of the draft.
Yeah, B, there's a supply and demand issue because a lot of teams on that list would like to move back, including the Arizona Cardinals, Tennessee Titans at 4, maybe even the Giants at 5, Browns at 6. You could see a situation where somebody is trying to get back to get more draft capital. You need a team to move up. We mentioned Dallas. They got the 12th and 20th pick. They want to fortify their defense. They will be a threat. That's at least the feeling around the league to potentially trade up. But they're not tied to that. They're also comfortable sitting put if the right deal is not there. So they're going to be working the phones most likely this coming week. And there's going to be some movement. Chiefs are believed to be a threat, potentially up or down. They're sitting at number 9. They got some needs to address. That is also a team to watch.
And this is the man who will keep us updated, Jeremy Fowler, with the latest. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Giants now have 2 picks inside the top 10, pick 5, which, of course, they've had for the duration of this thing. And now they have pick 10, thanks to that Dexter Lawrence trade. In my latest mock draft, here's what I think the Giants should do. At 5, you take Francis Mauigoa, the right tackle out of Miami. And you might say, we have done that before. We've been down this road with Evan Neal, and it didn't work out. Hear me out. You can move Mauigoa inside to guard. You have desperate needs at guard. You can move him back outside to right tackle in a year or 2, but the bottom line is you have to protect Jackson Dart from himself. And then at 10, what are we doing there? We're getting Jackson Dart some help. We're getting Malik Neighbors some help in the form of Carnell Tate, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. He's my wide receiver 1. We know that Joe Shane met recently with Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver at Arizona State, who had a great workout privately for teams. That could be an option as well. But at the end of the day, here's what you're getting. You're getting help for Jackson Dart in the form of offensive line help, and then you're getting some wide receiver help for Malik Neighbors, who's coming off the ACL. They lost Wan'Dale Robinson. They've added some pieces like Calvin Austin III. But Carnell Tate is going to be the T. Higgins to Malik Neighbors' Jamar Chase. And if you can get behind that, and if you like how that looks in Cincinnati, you're probably going to love how that looks in New York. One last thing. The Giants also have pick 37. They could circle back and get a defensive lineman there. Names to watch: Peter Woods out of Clemson, who could slip a little bit. I think he's a first-round talent. I also think Caleb Banks is a first-round talent, but because of injury concerns last season at Florida, he might slip. And if you land those players at 37, now you have your defensive line fix now that Dexter Lawrence is on his way to Cincinnati.
Well, 6 teams now enter this year's draft holding multiple first-round picks. The Giants adding themselves to the list now with picks 5 and 10. This means more flexibilities and more opportunities for these teams to shape their futures with young talent.
NFL that day in Tampa. They're at the epicenter of the NFL Thursday to Saturday with the draft. And our draft analyst, Jordan Reed, joins us now. Some edits to his upcoming 7-round mock. Jordan, that pre-draft blockbuster yesterday, Dexter Lawrence going to Cincy. Giants now have 5 and 10 overall. A lot of different mocks considering what they might do at 5. Give us a first look. What should they do at 10?
Yeah, Phil, after that big blockbuster trade that included Dexter Lawrence going to the Bengals, what did the Giants do at 10? But there's 4 players that I think they could target with that second first-round pick in the top 10. And the first one is Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson. He's with neighbors for the young quarterback in Jackson Dart. So Jordan Tyson, look for him to go with that number 10 overall pick if they want to add some offensive firepower. Next, we have Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State. If they want to go with a defender, who I believe is the top defender in this year's draft class, going with Downs at number 10 overall is another player that makes a ton of sense. Has a very clean evaluation. He's a player that was an All-American at 2 Alabama and Ohio State. One of my favorites. He reminds me a lot of Budda Baker out in Arizona, who's gone on to be a 4-time All-Pro. And I believe Downs would be next on that list. They have a huge hole at right guard, and yes, I know they signed Daniel Falele, but he should not keep them from adding another offensive lineman, specifically at that guard spot. Now with Fano, he played anything from center, guard, or tackle, but this past season, no touchdowns. He is a true shutdown corner, and if the Giants do with that second first-round pick, I think the lane makes a lot of sense.
All right, so you've got receiver, safety, offensive lineman, and corner, so an opportunity to zig and zag at 5 and 10. Jordan, another team with 2 picks in the first round, the Cowboys 12 and 20 overall. Who do you see the Cowboys targeting there?
Another team, as you mentioned, that has 2 first-round picks. And at that number 12 pick, I think they need to get somebody that can come in and contribute right away. And what better person than Ruben Bain, the defensive end out of Miami, who was my top-ranked edge rusher in this year's draft class. I have Arvo Reese as an off-ball linebacker. So with him, he gives you the edge, but also the versatility to really play any position up front for Christian Parker's defense. I think Ruben Bain will be a home run selection for them as far as somebody that can come in and play right away with that first-round pick that they have in this year's draft. And then another player that I think fans need to familiarize themselves with that could be in contention for the second first-round pick for the Cowboys at number 20 overall is Chris Combine. He was terrific down in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl as well. So Chris Johnson, he has a chance to be the second cornerback off of the board. Yes, ahead of Jermon McCoy and behind Mansour Delane. That would not be surprising at all to me.
6 teams have multiple firsts, and just the Giants and Jets alone count for a quarter of the top 16. Jordan has a full 7-round, 257-pick mock coming out Monday morning on ESPN.